I'm Amelia Brooks, 34. Imagine discovering your fiancé in bed with your younger sister 3 months before your wedding, then getting a wedding invitation from them with a note saying, "Come see what true love looks like." I showed up in a stunning white dress with a secret that would destroy their perfect day and change our lives forever. The look on my sister's face when she realized she'd just lost $10 million was priceless. If you were 34 and staring down a betrayal like that, would you walk away quietly or step in to set things straight? Share your thoughts in the comments. The murmurs began the instant I pushed through the grand wooden doors of Holy Trinity Church. 250 heads swiveled as one, a tide of surprise washing across the pews. I caught the sharp intakes of breath, the undercurrent of astonishment filling the air in that hallowed place. Is that the ex? What's she doing in white? The nerve. I held my head up my pace, steady and intentional on the deep red runner. My high-end designer gown, the very one I'd selected for my own ceremony, fit my figure just right. The soft morning glow, filtering through the colorful windows, danced off the delicate pearl accents, casting a subtle sparkle with every movement. Up at the altar stood Isabella, my little sister, wrapped in soft cream silk and delicate lace, her light hair adorned with pale bloom. Lucas was next to her in his dark gray suit, the same one we'd chosen together the previous year. His complexion paled when our gazes locked. The event planner, Mrs. Ellis, hurried over her cheeks, reddening with alarm. "Miss Brooks, we didn't anticipate." "The card says 2 o'clock, I replied evenly, displaying the elegant pearl stationery. "I'm precisely on time." I settled into a seat 3 rows from the rear, legs crossed with poise. My mother turned from the front, her lips parting and closing in stunned silence. Father's face tightened the vein in his jaw, pulsing visibly even from this distance. But it was Isabella's response that strengthened my determination. She clutched Lucas's sleeve, her manicured mouth forming quick words. From where I sat, her tense posture screamed anger. Fine, let her puzzle it out, let her fret. The pipe organ music rose, trying to bring calm to the disorder I'd stirred just by arriving. Father Thomas adjusted his spectacles, looking back and forth between the couple and me. The atmosphere in the church hung heavy, thick enough to slice through. What they all missed, not Isabella, not Lucas, not even my folks, was that I controlled the situation. The modest wooden container in my handbag wasn't ordinary. It held half a year's worth of restraint, years of foresight, and a form of fairness delivered through official papers. The service was starting, and I was right where I belonged. 2 weeks prior, I'd been going through letters in my uptown condo when I spotted it. That envelope in Isabella's script. My fingers shook as I tore it open, sensing what lay within. The invite was on pearl stock, mirroring the style I'd picked for our event, the identical lettering, the same phrasing. She'd even hired the same artist for the script. But the personal message slipped inside, chilled me to the core. "Dearest Amelia, I realize this could be tough, but kin should rejoice with kin. Join us to witness real affection. We wouldn't want you to sit it out. With affection, Isabella and Lucas." I lingered in my kitchen, rereading those lines repeatedly. The sharpness of it, the deliberate spite. She wasn't merely claiming my partner, she was grinding it in wielding my own arrangements as the tool. That evening, I rang my closest companion, Megan. "Stay away," she urged. "It's her ploy to shame you." But Megan lacked my knowledge. She hadn't heard about the session with Daniel Lawson, Grandma Victoria's attorney, just 7 days before. She was unaware of the file secured in his vault, poised for the ideal instant. "I'll be there," I informed her, "and I'll make it a ceremony they won't forget." The following 14 days went into meticulous readiness, not for vengeance. That felt too basic, too raw. This concerned equity revelation, and at last, after 3 decades of playing the dutiful child, the reserved one, the one who avoided ripples, rising to seize what belonged to me, I'd even contacted Lucas once. He picked up after a few rings, his tone laced with remorse and defensiveness. "Amelia, let me clarify. Spare it for those who care," I cut in. "I only wanted to confirm your satisfaction with the decision. I want $10 million worth of happiness. Lucas, I trust she's valuable enough." I disconnected before he could reply. Let him ponder my meaning. Let him toss and turn, deciphering it. Types like Lucas always believed they outsmarted everyone. He was due for a lesson. The invite remained on my living room table the morning of the event, that biting message peeking out. but I wasn't the woman who'd gotten it anymore. I had grown tougher, someone who'd grasped that kindness and frailty weren't synonyms. Being the elder sibling ought to carry weight. In typical households, it did. But in the Brooks home, I was the initial sketch, and Isabella the finished work. It commenced in our youth. While Isabella received a white luxury sedan for her 16th complete with a scarlet ribbon, I got a talk on accountability and a transit card. You must grasp the worth of effort, Father declared, as Isabella shared photos online from behind the wheel. At each family assembly, the contrasts were endless. Isabella's so lively. Isabella brightens the space. Why can't you emulate your sibling, Amelia? I was the top student who entered Stanford for design studies. Isabella scarcely finished at a local college with a media credential, whose completion celebration was grander, your overly grave, mother would remark, scowling at my drawings and plans. Gentlemen prefer ladies who aren't too clever. Meanwhile, Isabella glided along on allure and features, grabbing whatever caught her fancy. My formal escort, my position on the top sports squad. She hadn't touched the game until she witnessed my regional victory. My placement at Vanguard Designs until she persuaded them she'd excel in client interactions. But one individual pierced through the facade. Grandma Victoria, you possess what Isabella lacks, she confided once, her aged palms over mine. Depth, endurance, the skill to craft something lasting. I'd assumed she referred to my design path. Now, in this church, I realized she implied far more. In 2007, at 16 in Seattle, I was already the overlooked sketch in our family's portrait, watching Isabella claim every spotlight I earned. My teenage years unfolded in our family's comfortable Seattle home, where gatherings always highlighted the same divide. I was the serious, one nose buried in textbooks, sketching designs for imaginary buildings. By 2009, I'd earned my way into Stanford's architecture program, a dream I'd chased since sketching my first blueprint at 12. Meanwhile, Isabella coasted through high school, her charm outshining her effort. Art parents ever dazzled never noticed the difference. At 16, I'd saved for months to afford a second-hand bike, only to see Isabella unwrap a white luxury sedan for her birthday, complete with a red bow. You need to learn responsibility, Father said, handing me a transit card while Isabella posed for photos online. Family dinners echoed the same refrain. Isabella's so vibrant, they'd say, she lights up any room. Why can't you be more like her, Amelia? I swallowed the sting, focusing on my grades. By 2011, I'd secured a spot on the varsity tennis team after years of practice. Isabella, who'd never swung a racket, joined the team after my regional win, claiming my place by charming the coach. The pattern sharpened in college. At Stanford, I pulled all-nighters to maintain straight A's my designs, earning quiet praise from professors. Isabella, at a state school nearby, barely scraped through her communications degree. Yet when graduation came in 2013, her ceremony was the grand affair, catered, packed with relatives, her photos flooding social media. Mine was a quiet lunch with Megan, my roommate Brooke, and a single card from Grandma Victoria. You're overly studious, Mother remarked, eyeing my latest project sketches. Men don't warm to women who seem too sharp. Isabella's thefts weren't just emotional. My junior year, I'd spent 3 years building a portfolio for the Harlan Scholarship, a prestigious award for architecture students. I volunteered with community build projects, maintained a perfect grade point average, and poured my heart into designs for sustainable housing. The night before my final interview in 2012, I found my portfolio waterlogged pages ruined beyond repair. Isabella miraculously found it too late, then took my interview slot, claiming a sudden passion for humanitarian work. She won the scholarship. I later learned she'd used the funds for personal trips, not a single project. The sting repeated with my internship. I'd landed a coveted spot at Vanguard Designs, a Seattle firm known for innovative structures. Isabella, fresh off her scholarship win, convinced them she'd be better at client meetings despite no design experience. By the time I started my career at Hale & Partners in 2013, I was used to her shadow eclipsing my work, but one person saw through it all. Grandma Victoria, her eyes sharp despite her age, took my hand during a rare visit in 2011. You have what Isabella never will, she said, her voice steady. Depth, patience, the ability to build something real. I thought she meant my sketches. Only later would I understand her deeper meaning. Each family gathering hammered the contrast. Isabella's laughter-filled rooms, my achievements were footnotes. When I presented my first professional blueprint at 22, Father barely glanced at it. Isabella's latest social media post, though, earned endless praise. She's spirited, they'd say, when she took my prom date, Ryan Caldwell, kissing him in his car at homecoming in 2009. You're the mature one, Amelia. Be bigger. I was 17, heart-cracked, but I nodded. They banned Ryan, not her, after her tearful tale of being overwhelmed by his advances. Those years taught me silence wasn't weakness, but they also built a quiet ache. Grandma's words were my anchor, her belief in my substance, a lifeline through the comparisons. By the time I was 26, starting at Hale & Partners, I'd learned to channel hurt into work. My designs were gaining notice, and I was on track for bigger projects. But Isabella's pattern, see my joy, claim it never stopped. I didn't yet know how far she'd take it or how Grandma's foresight would one day turn my losses into strength. By 2023, at 32 in Seattle, I'd built a stable life with Lucas, but Isabella's return from Los Angeles signaled trouble I couldn't ignore. My early 30s marked a shift towards self-reliance, rooted in the lessons from Stanford and those initial years at Hale & Partners. 8 years into my role there, I'd climbed from junior designer to leading key initiatives, my blueprints turning heads in the firm. The harborfront development, a $50 million venture I'd spearheaded for 2 years, was my pride. But home life still echoed the old imbalances, especially with Isabella drifting in and out. We met at a design summit in San Francisco, Lucas and I. He was polished, driven, the kind of partner who seemed to match my ambitions. For 2.5 years, we crafted a shared vision, a joint practice, a home outside the city, perhaps children down the line. Isabella was in Los Angeles, then chasing influencer gigs, posting sun-soaked updates that our parents fawned over. She came back for Thanksgiving in 2024, eyed my ring, and something in her gaze changed. I should have recognized the warning. By Christmas, her messages to Lucas flooded in. Work-related, she claimed, though she had no ties to architecture. Valentine's brought her crashing our dinners. What a surprise, she'd say, batting lashes. Lucas brushed off my concerns. You're overthinking Amelia. She's family. April found her earring in our bedroom at the Uptown condo. He swore it dropped during a furniture move she helped with. 3 weeks on, I returned early from a trip. The sight in our bed on sheets from our engagement gifts drew a sound from me that felt primal, not quite mine. What cut deeper than the act was Lucas's immediate words. She's all you're not adventurous, lively, thrilling, all code for not dull like Amelia. They set up house the next week. Our parents hosted a welcome gathering for them. I wasn't on the list, but Mother made sure to call and describe their glow. You focus too much on work, she said. You could have been more attentive. Even then, they twisted it to my failing. The fallout rippled fast. At Hale & Partners, stares followed me the morning after. Word spread someone spotted Lucas leaving our building with bags. Another caught Isabella's online story from my room. By midday, I was the talk. Perhaps take leave, Jonathan Hale suggested gently, until it settles. That break cost me the harborfront lead. They handed it to a newcomer 6 months in. We need focus, without distractions, he explained. The raise I'd eyed for loans vanished my standing frayed. Meanwhile, Brooks' architectural firm Grandma Victoria's legacy teetered. Father's poor choices, lost deals, risky bets pushed it near collapse 3 months from folding, though they feigned stability. Isabella's ceremony must shine, Mother insisted. The Thompsons might fund us. Lucas's folks unaware of his debts. Father even phoned me. Attend for the firm, Amelia. She took my fiancé. Stop the selfishness. This outweighs your hurt. I ended the call. Socially, it was a siege. Isabella's engagement post hit every platform, a beach sunset, her hand flaunting, Grandma's ring, the one Lucas used for me. Caption, when it clicks, it clicks. Love appears in surprising spots. Thrilled to wed my closest companion. Hashtags for true bonds, soul pairs, fortunate bride. 600 approvals in the first hour. Comments from shared circles, my circles cheered them. Perfect match. Love triumphs. So glad for you. None mentioned me. Work turned isolating. Talks hushed as I passed. Invites dwindled. The yearly event I'd run for 5 years passed to another. Lighten your load, Jonathan said. Brooke, my Stanford roommate, cut ties after Isabella spread tales of my controlling ways with Lucas. My reading group dissolved to avoid sides. Even my fitness coach hinted at my heavy vibe in sessions. The pity grated most. Sparse allies asked, how are you managing tones thick with false care, eager for gossip? Megan stayed true, but even she puzzled. Move forward, she advised. Thriving beats payback. But I sought fairness, not spite, a distinction. Isabella's feeds became torment. I couldn't stop scrolling shots from my suppliers, my flower arranger, my meal provider, my site. She was enacting my ceremony, same man I'd chosen. Cake sampling today at Laurent's Patisserie, where I'd deposited. Dress found at my boutique. Dream trip to France, my researched route. Each entry twisted like a blade. She knew I'd view them. She banked on it. While she broadcasted, I held quieter talks with attorneys, accountants, Grandma's longtime associates. Your sister remains clueless, right? Daniel Lawson asked in our third sit-down. Yes, I answered, permitting a faint grin. She's occupied with her ideal event. Grandma Victoria's health faded in those months, her battle drawing to a close. I was beside her at the end in early 2025, clasping her frail hand as breaths labored. Endurance, dear, she murmured, eyes clear through the haze. Quiet ones reshape everything. At her service, Isabella wailed theatrically, though she'd skipped visits during the 3-month fight. She attempted a tribute crumbling after lines. All consoled her. Sensitive Isabella. I sat rear composed, recalling the true Victoria Brooks who founded the firm in 1978 when women rarely led. 2 weeks post-service, Daniel called. Your grandmother set precise directives. The will reading waits 6 months. Why, she said you'd grasp when ready. I didn't then, but as spring warmed to summer and my world crumbled, his calls increased, along with those from her old partners revealing firm secrets even father ignored. She worried Daniel shared in our first deep discussion about your father's handling your sister's sway, but chiefly you. About me, you alone valued her creation, prioritizing heritage over flash. He laid out files, founding docs, invention rights, land titles. Brooks' architectural firm held more worth than known. Grandma had reacquired stakes over decades, tucking them in trusts. But stipulations applied strict ones. In April 2025, at 34 in Seattle, the invitation arrived, pushing me from pain to strategic action. The months after the betrayal were a haze of rebuilding centered in my uptown condo, where solitude became my ally. Work at Hale and Partners demanded focus, but the scandal's shadow lingered my once steady routine, now punctuated by whispers and lost opportunities. Grandma Victoria's passing in March had left a void, her final words echoing as I sorted through the debris of my life. The 6-month seal on her will, as Daniel Lawson explained, was her way of timing revelations perfectly. The envelope came amid routine mail, Isabella's elegant script, a familiar taunt. My hand steadied as I opened it, anticipating the blow. Pearl stock identical to my choices, the font, the layout, even the calligrapher I'd selected. But her inserted note froze me. Dearest Amelia, it read, I know this might sting, but family celebrates together. Come, witness genuine connection. We'd regret your absence. Affectionately, Isabella and Lucas. The words looped in my mind, their calculated edge sharpening my resolve. That night, I called Megan from my kitchen counter, the note still clutched. Don't go, she pleaded, her voice firm over the line. She's aiming to break you. But I had insights. Megan lacked the meeting with Daniel a week prior, the secured documents outlining Grandma's true intentions. I'm attending, I said, and it'll be unforgettable. The next 2 weeks became a focused regimen, channeling 3 decades of restraint into claiming my due. Not spite, but balance. After 30 years as the compliant one, I was ready to stand firm. Daniel Lawson's office overlooking Market Street became my hub. Your grandmother was astute, he said, sliding folders across his polished desk. She anticipated the dynamics father's mismanagement, Isabella's influence, your overlooked strength. The files revealed Brooks' architectural firm's hidden value, $10 million in patents, properties, and partnerships Grandma had safeguarded in trusts over 40 years. The office on Market Street, he pointed out, held in trust. The design software patent hers alone. Contracts with major firms outside official books. But the inheritance carried ironclad terms. The recipient must be of Brooks' lineage, unmarried, or wed to someone financially sound, board-approved within 30 days of reading. No criminal history, debts over $60,000, or record of infidelity with betrothed individuals. She refined it post your engagement, Daniel noted. Concerns about Lucas from the start. She never voiced them. She trusted revelations in time. The board 5 trusted associates of Grandma's held veto power. If no one qualified, the estate went to a women's design foundation. Isabella marrying Lucas would disqualify her outright, his debts, the betrayal. Contesting after vows unlikely per Daniel. No court would side against her wishes for that. The invitation mocked from my table. Witness genuine connection. She thought she'd triumphed by claiming him unaware she'd forfeit everything at I do. I even phoned Lucas once, his voice hesitant on the third ring. Amelia, I can explain. Save it, I replied. Just confirm you're content. What $10 million content, Lucas? Hope she's worth it. Silence, then disconnect. Let him stew. Isabella's social stream continued the assault, my florist caterer venue, all captioned with glee. She knew I watched. Preparation intensified. I met Daniel thrice reviewing authenticity. She's planning her dream day, I said. He nodded. Unaware, it's her undoing. The wooden box filled the sealed will, Lucas's credit reports showing over $250,000 in debts, fraud papers from cards in my name, Grandma's letters, detailing her worries about Isabella's character. Family pressures mounted. Isabella rang 3 days before. Her tone dripped false sweetness. You're not really coming, are you? Wouldn't miss it. Pause. Don't humiliate yourself. I'm not the one at risk. Look, I get you're wounded. I laughed calm. Not wounded, Isabella. Thankful. You spared me a mistake. Lucas is yours. Another beat. Just no white or anything wild. Wouldn't consider it. I lied. She hung up. Minutes later, Lucas texted, let's talk. Sorry for the mess. You should know the facts. It's about the funds. He didn't know the will still sealed. What funds I captured, screens didn't reply. Mother appeared uninvited next morning, Chanel ensemble crisp, but her expression reluctant. Stay home Saturday. Free country, Mother. Amelia, think of us. Like Isabella thought of family in my bed. Her features tightened. They connected in my sheets. Your crude, honest difference. She drew her checkbook actually in 2025. How much to skip? I stared my mother, bartering my absence from my sister's union to my ex. Keep it. You'll need it. Meaning ask father about loans against the firm. Pale now. How do you? Goodbye. After I confirmed with Daniel, all set, documents verified, board alerted. Timing your call, Miss Brooks. The intervention hit Friday evening, 18 hours pre-ceremony. They ambushed my condo, mother, father, aunt. Enough father boomed, claiming my sofa. You won't spoil Isabella's day. I'm attending as invited. Aunt gripped her necklace. The whole clan, the Washingtons, Clearys, Hales. What will they say? The truth. Don't smart mouth, father snapped. The firm needs us flawless. Lucas's kin have ties. Lucas has $250,000 in debts, I said levelly. Mention that silence. Mother rallied. Lies. I showed phone files, investigators' work post-betrayal. Gambling cards, failed Los Angeles venture. Wanted clarity on my near husband. Father flushed. No right. Every right. He forged 3 cards in my name, still battling charges. This is why he left, Mother chilled. Controlling. He cheated with my sister. She's welcome. Stop the spite, Aunt urged. Family backs family. Where was that for me? Your elder responsible. My phone buzzed, Daniel review done. Board set for Monday 9. I faced them, these lifelong diminishers. See you tomorrow. Too sharp. Father rose towering. If you appear what disown me, you did when you gifted her my vendors, my plans, my existence, saving the business, saving yourselves, difference. As they exited, Mother turned. Grandma Victoria would shame you. I smiled, first genuine in months. We'll see. Alone, I opened the box again, tracing the papers. Grandma's true will hidden from all but Daniel. Tomorrow shifts. Thank you, I whispered to her. Echo for seeing, for trusting. On the eve of the wedding in September 2025 at 34 in Seattle, I reviewed the documents one last time, solidifying my boundaries against years of family erosion. The uptown condo felt like a fortress that night, my space reclaimed after months of upheaval. The high-end designer gown hung on the closet door, a silent promise of tomorrow's stand. Grandma Victoria's portrait, now in my living room, watched over the wooden box on the table, its contents a culmination of her wisdom and my patience. The 6-month mark since her March passing had arrived, her plan unfolding precisely as the clock ticked toward the ceremony. Isabella called 3 days out, her ringtone a grating reminder. I almost ignored it, but answered curiosity winning. Her voice oozed feigned concern. You're not seriously planning to show, right? Wouldn't dream of missing it. A heavy pause. Fiona, don't make a scene. I'm not the one who should worry about scenes. I know you're still smarting from this. I chuckled, my tone even. Not smarting, Isabella. Relieved. You did me a solid. Lucas is all yours. Another silence, her mind likely racing from my angle. Just keep it classy, no white or dramatics. Classy as ever, I replied smoothly, ending the call. 5 minutes later, Lucas's texts lit my screen. Can we chat? Sorry for how it went down. You deserve the full story. It's tied to the finances. He remained clueless about the will still under seal. What finances? I screenshotted without responding, adding to my files. The next morning, Mother appeared at my door, unannounced, her Chanel outfit impeccable, but her demeanor strained. She stood in the entry, avoiding my eyes. You have to skip Saturday. It's my choice, Mother. Amelia, for once, considered the family, like Isabella considered family when she crossed that line in my home. Her expression hardened. That's not the same. They found each other. In my bed. You're being vulgar, truthful. There's a gap. She pulled out her checkbook, quaint in 2025, and flipped it open. Name the amount to stay clear. 5,010. I stared, absorbing the sight of my own mother attempting to purchase my non-attendance at my sister's marriage to my former fiancé. Hold on to your funds, I said softly. You'll require them. What does that imply? Inquire with father about the Patterson deal, the borrowings against the company. Her color drained. How did you fare well, Mother? Once she left, I dialed Daniel Lawson. Everything in place. Papers authenticated, board on alert for the emergency session. And the schedule at your discretion, Miss Brooks. Your grandmother ensured that. I hung up, gazing at the gown. Nearly time. The full intervention struck Friday night, under 18 hours to the event. They stormed my condo, Mother, Father, and Aunt, the family's stern voice. Father sank into my couch as if it were his. This stops now. You will not disrupt your sister's big day. I'm simply going as requested. Aunt clutched her pearls. The extended relatives will attend, the Washingtons, the Clearys, the Hales. Imagine the talk. They'll hear facts. Don't get clever, Father barked. The company hangs on this going smoothly. Lucas's people have influence. Lucas carries over $250,000 in obligations, I stated calmly. Did he share that? The room fell quiet. Mother broke first. Fabrications. I displayed the investigators' reports on my device. Wagering losses, max cards, a flopped venture in Los Angeles. I hired help after discovering them to understand the man I'd nearly bound myself to. Father's face turned deep red. You overstepped. I protected myself. He fraudulently opened 3 accounts under my name. I'm still contesting. That's precisely why he departed, Mother said icily. Your control. He didn't depart. He betrayed me with my sibling who's free to have him. Cease the bitterness, Aunt pressed. Kin supports kin. Where was that support when I required it? You're the senior, the accountable one. Behave accordingly. My phone vibrated. Daniel, final checks complete. Board confirmed for Monday at 9. I regarded my family, these people who'd consistently sidelined me, shrinking me so Isabella could gleam. I'll see you all tomorrow, I said, rising. 2 o'clock, precisely. Father stood, attempting to intimidate. If you arrive, then what cut me off? You already did by handing her my arrangements, my location, my existence. We're preserving the family enterprise. No, I said opening the door. You're preserving yourselves. There's a distinction. As they filed out, Mother paused. Your grandmother would be mortified. I smiled then, my first authentic one in months. We'll discover that soon. With them gone, I reopened the wooden box, fingers gliding over the legal sheaf. Grandma Victoria's authentic will concealed from everyone except Daniel. Tomorrow, transformations. The breadth of her strategy was stunning. Brooks' architectural firm wasn't merely a modest operation. It anchored a $10 million network. For 4 decades, she'd quietly gathered invention rights real estate alliances, housing them in distinct entities under her sole oversight. Your father never dug deep, Daniel had clarified, arraying papers on his table. He assumed command because his name graced the entrance. The inheritance rules were unyielding. Heir of Brooks blood single or paired with a stable board-vetted individual. Sound ethics defined legally clean record debts below $60,000, no betrayal of engaged parties. Her master touch, I'd marveled. She covered all. 6 months post-engagement to hone the terms, Daniel said. Doubts about Lucas from day one, but silent. She let actions speak. The board, her hand-picked 5 of unwavering honor, waited as silent guardians. If unqualified, the whole to the International Women's Design Foundation. Contesting by Isabella marrying, a debtor with over $250,000 owed who defrauded her sister Daniel shook his head. No judge overrides for that. The invite beside the box seemed to jeer, witness genuine connection, true connection. Isabella figured she'd secured it with Lucas, unaware she'd sealed her loss. As guests mingled in the Holy Trinity Church courtyard in Seattle that September 2025 afternoon, my arrival in white shifted the atmosphere from celebration to unease. The pre-ceremony cocktail hour buzzed under string lights, 250 attendees chatting with flutes in hand, unaware of the undercurrents. I'd timed my entry, precisely stepping into the garden where judgments floated like the soft quartet notes. The setup mirrored my original plans. Pale roses, climbing arches, the ensemble playing a gentle canon, every detail, an echo of what I'd envisioned for my own day. The seating chart near the entrance confirmed my sideline status table 19, tucked by the service doors among staff, kin, and last-minute additions. I signed the guest book with a firm hand, the pen gliding smoothly. Chloe, one of Isabella's attendants, approached with her group all in soft rose dresses and matching sneers. We figured you wouldn't actually appear. Couldn't pass it up, I responded evenly. They tittered behind polished nails, fingers flying over phones. Whispers ignited like sparks, spreading through the crowd. I moved into the open area where pretends at nonchalance failed as eyes tracked me. Across the way, Jonathan Hale, head of Hale Enterprises, and a key potential partner for the firm, conversed with Lucas's parents. They projected affluence oblivious to their son's mounting obligations. Amelia, Jonathan acknowledged, discomfort evident. Didn't expect you. Family ties, I said, accepting a sparkling drink from a server. Nearby, 3 of Grandma Victoria's board members, blended in Mrs. Lee, Mr. Tanaka, another. They weren't listed invitees, but Daniel Lawson had arranged it. Each met my glance with a subtle nod affirming readiness. Mrs. Ellis announced seating for the right. As I passed the main table, Isabella's voice drifted from the upper bridal room window. Is she truly here in white? How pitiful. Lucas's reply muffled, but words like inheritance and error carried. I took my chair at 19 among unfamiliar faces who chatted obliviously. Ideal, I preferred obscurity until the pivotal moment. The quartet transitioned to the march guests, rising as attendance proceeded. Each bridesmaid shot me glances of sympathy or scorn. Lucas positioned at the front, avoiding my direction, his groomsmen murmuring something that drew a tense chuckle. The swell peaked all standing for Isabella's entrance. She glided forward, glowing in her gown arm, linked with father's toward what she deemed her victory. Unbeknownst today, would unveil truths beyond her grasp. The ritual flowed like a polished affront. Father Thomas spoke of devotion, fidelity, and candor as Lucas fidgeted and Isabella radiated victory. Then the custom vows Isabella's insistence. She began her words projecting with rehearsed feeling. Lucas, you entered my world unexpectedly. You revealed true affection's form. Some chase it lifelong, believing they grasp it. She paused, eyes flicking to me. But authentic bonds can't be scheduled or forced, they simply occur. And once they do, no barrier or person halts them. Murmurs of approval rippled. Heads turned my way, anticipating a crack. I maintained composure, hands neatly folded. Lucas's promises were briefer, less defined. Isabella, you infuse thrill into my days. You're impulsive, vibrant, all I never realized I craved. He paused, throat working. You awaken me in unforeseen ways. Notably absent the word affection. not once. Father Thomas beamed kindly. These souls united despite challenges, surmounting hurdles to stand here. Hurdles. Was that me now, a cleared obstacle? Union is sacred, he went on. It demands truth, reliance, and shared honor. Both must join openly sans hesitations or concealed motives. I noted Lucas's tightened jaw at concealed motives. He knew his burdens, his true aims. But did Isabella, before proceeding, Father Thomas added recall that marriage binds not just spirits, but legally before higher powers and statutes. Board members leaned in subtly, they sensed the cue. Should anyone know a lawful barrier to this joining a cause these two cannot unite in matrimony, voice it now or remain silent eternally. The courtyard hushed. 250 held breaths. Isabella pivoted slightly, her smirk daring me. I rose. Gasps cascaded like falling tiles. Her smugness shattered to astonishment. Luca blenched like parchment. In the hushed Holy Trinity Church courtyard in Seattle, that September 2025 day at 34, I rose and declared my objection, unleashing the documents that would unravel everything. The silence shattered as I stepped forward, wooden box in hand. 250 faces pivoted, a wave of disbelief crashing through. A flute tumbled, cracking sharply on stone. Father Thomas blinked, clearly unaccustomed to real interruptions. Miss Brooks, this is most unusual. I have papers impacting this union legally, I stated, advancing with deliberate strides. My designer gown caught the afternoon rays, whispers rising. She wore white to her siblings' ceremony. Indeed, I had. Amelia, take your seat, Mother's command whipped from up front. I disregarded reaching the altar where Isabella froze, her flowers quivering. Lucas looked ready to flee. These are verified legal files, I said, extending the box to Father Thomas. Regarding Victoria Brooks's estate and family marriage stipulations, he hesitated. Daniel Lawson rose from row 5. I'm Daniel Lawson, Estate Counsel. Those hold binding urgent weight. Isabella regained her voice. This is absurd. You can't. Actually, yes, I interjected, turning to the assembly. 6 months passed, our grandmother Victoria Brooks departed. Most here don't know her will included precise terms. Falsehoods, Isabella snapped. We heard the will. The initial one, Daniel clarified, approaching. The complete estate details sealed 6 months per her orders. Today hits that mark. Father Thomas opened the container with unsteady hands extracting the dense sheaf. His gaze widened. This bequeaths the full Brooks estate valued at $10 million to Amelia Brooks, subject to marital conditions. Gasps echoed. Jonathan Hale leaned forward, interest peaked. It requires the heir unmarried or wed to a financially stable, board-approved individual, Father Thomas read on voice firming. Any kin marrying someone with debts over $60,000 or financial deceit forfeits claims. Lucas wavered. Isabella dug nails into his arm. Moreover, he continued, any engaging in betrayal with a betrothed kin is barred forever. Utter quiet descended, a pin's drop audible. How much do you owe Lucas? I asked mildly. Over $250,000 last tally correct, plus my frauded cards. The crowd erupted. Father Thomas pressed on words, striking like blows. The entire Brooks estate, encompassing Brooks Architectural Firm, all linked invention rights properties and alliances valued at $10 million, goes to Amelia Marie Brooks. Isabella's complexion cycled from flush to ashen to sickly hue. Impossible. The firm's father's facade, I interposed calmly. Built on Grandma's invention rights, her holdings, her ties, fathers managed but never owned. She safeguarded that. Daniel produced more files. Victoria Brooks held 78% via trusts and entities. He addressed Lucas's father. Aware that forging credit in another's name is federal offense, Miss Brooks hasn't pursued charges yet. Buzzing intensified devices emerging to capture. This would spread online swiftly. Father Thomas cleared his throat. Further, any union under false financial pretense or deceitful intent faces court challenge. We're not wed yet, Isabella shrieked. Irrelevant. Mrs. Lee, a board member, stood. Public engagement announcement activated the ethics provision. Wedding your sister's betrothed while engaged to her shows ethical lapse per section 7, subsection 3. You knew Isabella whirled on me, hair disheveled. All along, 2 weeks back, I said, post your charming invite to see true affection. But wedding Lucas, I'm not with Lucas. You are or were. I faced the group. Lucas Thompson holds over $250,000 in wagering debts, 3 frauded cards in my name, an undisclosed failed venture. The board wouldn't sanction him. The realization struck Isabella like a blow. She stumbled heels, snagging her train. You spared me the gravest error, I added. In exchange, you claim Lucas' debts included while I inherit the firm assets and future grandma envisioned. The agreement, Lucas yelled suddenly. Isabella, the prenup you signed. All eyes on him. What agreement, her whisper faint. Separate finances waiving asset claims. Protecting your assets. She laughed wildly. What assets, Lucas? Your burdens? Chaos bloomed. Lucas grasped her hands. We can sort this. She jerked free. Sort what you're penniless. You deceived me. Never deceived. You claimed success investments. I have in games. Screams now, tears streaking her face. You knew the inheritance, knew and picked me. His quiet damned him. He'd wagered on the wrong sibling. You exploited me, she breathed, truth dawning. Couldn't snag Amelia's, so mine. Parents rushed the platform. Mother tried salvage. Private matter all. Please. Jonathan's voice sliced through. True, your spouse managed a firm he didn't own. Father's hue deepened. Outrageous. Actually, Daniel cut in docs, show borrowings against unowned assets. Fraud. The board father sputtered. What board I'm head were Mrs. Lee corrected, of a firm you never controlled. Your role ends now. Miss Amelia Brooks is CEO pending board nod, which she'll get fully. Dominoes tumbled. Lucas's parents retreated, horror etched, as debts became their burden again. Ceremony canceled, Father Thomas declared redundant amid the mess. Altar wrecked, flowers crushed, candle toppled. Not finished, Isabella snarled, facade shattered. I'll fight this, Sue, with what I ask softly. You quit for planning. Lucas burdened, parents face fraud probe, prenup bars claims. Her world collapsed. She'd sacrificed for a liability. Grandma always noted your specialness, Isabella bit out. Her favored Amelia. No, I amended. Patient. Difference. Daniel advanced. Board convenes Monday 9. Miss Brooks, your presence for formal acceptance. I nodded then to the stunned, thanks for attending. Receptions funded my deposit. Enjoy. I turned striding the aisle, leaving turmoil behind. In the weeks following that September 2025 wedding in Seattle at 34, I stepped into my new role, watching the consequences unfold while building forward. The video exploded online by Sunday dawn. Sister Objects with $10 million will racked 4 million views, capturing from my white-gowned entry to Isabella's breakdown. Comments leaned my way. She deserved it. Grandma's long game. Losing $10 million for a deceitful debtor, brutal. My phone hummed nonstop. Megan called first. You're viral. Also don't mess with you. But the true shifts were brewing. Isabella's feeds turned ghost towns, deleted entries, harsh feedback. Her influencer path crumbled. Lucas vanished digitally, his place listed for lease. Word was he'd retreated to his parents in Massachusetts, fraud probe ongoing. My counsel confirmed he'd repay the stolen sums over years. Professionally, waves hit. By Monday, 3 big clients contacted Brooks' architectural firm asking for me specifically. The tale of an undervalued woman rising through merit resonated. Your grandmother pioneered, one leader said. Firm's safe with you. The board session was routine, full approval, as Daniel forecasted. I became CEO of a $10 million domain I'd contributed to but never dreamed leading. Father tried office entry that afternoon. Security barred him, access revoked. His embezzlement settled privately, avoiding incarceration, but his standing shattered. He took a junior spot at a minor outfit. Mother started as a front desk aide at a dental practice. At 60, they learned, earning over taking. They inquired via Megan. Your mother visits the salon she shared over lunch. Always asks after you. Thriving, I replied. She was correct. I began seeing again, cautiously. Daniel, a structural engineer, learned my story on date 3. Your grandmother was brilliant, he said, like you. Kind, steady, obligation-free board would endorse. Not rushing, though. I'd learned pace. Isabella's twist surprised. Rock bottom spurred change. Still at a coffee chain, she joined community courses in business, self-funding, first time. We hadn't spoken, but Mother mentioned therapy, tackling entitlement and envy. The family sought mending 2 weeks post. They arrived at my corner office, father's old space looking worn. Father aged a decade, assets frozen. Mother's attire, rumpled hair undone. Isabella, hollow, shell-like. We must discuss father's started tone subdued about the fraud claims the attorneys handle. The kin mother said faintly, "Still kin. Are we kin? Don't dismantle each other." "You dismantled us," Isabella rasped, speaking at last. "Took all, claimed what's mine, grandma's bequest, what you sought to snatch. Didn't know the will, but knew Lucas was mine. Knew the vendors, the hurt, and relished it. Quiet. Grandma left a note," I said, drawing it from my desk. "Hear it," they stared as I read. "Dearest Amelia, if this reaches you, my scheme succeeded. I've seen them belittle you years, took your gentleness for frailty. Your father prizes show over essence. Your mother fosters the worst. Isabella's what occurs when a lure lacks integrity. But you blend fortitude and compassion. The firm was yours, always. Insured, you received at sands their ruin first. Endure. Let them expose selves, then ascend." Mother wept, father stunned. Isabella floor-gazed. She saw us, father whispered, "All." "Loved regardless," I said, "but didn't trust. Difference. Now what mother asked. Manage sans my funds, my aid, my emotional crutch. Face your outcomes. Abandoning us," Isabella queried. "Doing as taught self first." They departed defeated. I didn't revel in their fall, just done carrying it. That evening, another of Grandma's notes saved by Daniel for post-clash. "Mercy comes later, limits first. Proud of you, she'd foreseen it all. 6 months on my world transformed positively. Brooks' architectural firm secured 3 global deals. We added 50 staff, drawing top talent to a merit-based shop. The enterprise flourished under me, widely acknowledged. Lucas's charges held. Guilty plea, no jail, but restitution lingered. Last heard selling vehicles at his uncle's in Pennsylvania. Isabella persisted coffee job classes therapy. Her letter arrived last week. Amelia likely unwanted, but sessions demand amends. Not forgiveness, accountability. Cruel to you. Took all possible from jealousy of your gifts. Smart, skilled, diligent, my opposites. Instead of improving, I diminished you. Lucas wasn't love, just victory, proving I could seize anything. Pathetic, I see. You gifted me at that ceremony unintended. Showed my true self, ugly needed. Working on better. For me, no expect pardon. Just know. Isabella, read thrice filed. Perhaps converse someday. Maybe not. Limits over links now. Grandma's image graced my office, overseeing her expanded realm. I confide in it, deals won, hurdles cleared. You imparted key truths, I'd say. Kindness isn't frailty, endurance, not idleness, optimal justice, not vengeance. Merely authentic living, letting others confront theirs. The firm mine, future mine. Finally where I fit. That's the account of how I transformed deep betrayal into quiet triumph without a raised voice or dramatic flair, just endurance, readiness, and impeccable timing. At 34, stepping into leadership at Brooks' architectural firm, I found peace in the boundaries I'd set and the truths revealed. Grandma Victoria's legacy taught me that strength often whispers, emerging through documents and decisions rather than confrontations. If this resonates, remember, fairness doesn't always demand noise. Sometimes it's in living authentically while others face their realities. Have you turned a personal setback into empowerment? Share in the comments, I read them all. And if these tales of resilience inspire you, hit subscribe for more. Until next, know the finest justice is a well-lived life.